Let's hear it for them, Peter Cullen and Frank Welker. How does it feel to be in Boston, guys? How are these fans treating you so far?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Detesting 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow, how again? Hi again. Hi again.
Yes.
Hi again.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
I don't know about you, Frank, but I've never given so many hugs and shook so many wonderful hands on this trip in Boston.
Yeah.
More than any other city I've ever
Boston
been.
is beautiful.
My father's hometown, Boston.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to get things off to the races asking you a couple of questions, but we're here because of the fans, as you just said.
Absolutely.
We have a Q&A mic set up right here, so if you'd like to start lining up, couple of quick things, because as we see, there's already a horde of people rolling out up to the microphone. We want to make sure that the questions that we got have a question mark at the end of them. They're question shaped. We're pleased not doing requests for hugs and selfies and that sort of thing, just because we want to get to as many people in that line as possible. You don't want to be the person that prevented somebody in that line from getting their once-in-a-lifetime chance to ask these guys a question. You guys play arch nemeses, and you seem like just the best of friends. How far back does that friendship go for the two of you?
I was a rookie. The first cartoon I ever did was with the king, Frank Welker. And the name of the cartoon was Mighty Man and Yuck. I was Mighty Man.
Of course.
He was Yuck.
Yeah, I'll be yuck. Look at that.
I'd heard about Frank Welker, but I'd never met him. And but I was told that this was the man of 1,000 voices. And of course, the first time I met him, I mean, he was famous for 1,000 ducks. He could sing like 1,000 ducks at the same time. Oh, well, I said, there's no way I'm going to get a job in this business if I find a guy like this. There's no way. But we ended up doing that series and many others after that, and perhaps became really, really good friends because of all those working conditions over the years. But I would have to say, there is the king, and he is the king.
No.
Now, Frank...
Thank you, Peter. He always says that. Truly, this is the king. You see, it's a mutual admiration society. But what a lot of you may not know about Peter is that he can do just about anything, but he's very, very humble and very gracious. And gracious in our business is always giving the other actors a chance to do the other roles, because he could do them all, trust me. And he does great impressions, and then something I found out just the other, well, I guess it was maybe one show we did together maybe a month ago. This guy plays one heck of a piano and sings. He does everything. So this is the king, I'm the prince.
Well, all right, golden voice Peter Cullen. What does Peter Cullen sing in the shower? What are his go-tos? What music do you love singing along to, singing to? What?
I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah, you think, huh? Yeah, you think, huh?
Louis Armstrong?
Yeah. Give me a kiss to build a dream on. In my imagination. Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
I wasn't lying.
Now, Frank, I've got to ask the man of 1,000 voices. We know you from a number of different things. Let me just pick something out of the air. There's a show called Garfield and Friends.
Yeah, I like doing Garfield, but you know, it takes an awful lot of energy. So sometimes I like to have a bowl of lasagna, Then I like to take a nap. Then I like to take another bowl of lasagna and sleep in that, just so it reminds me that I gotta have another bowl of lasagna for dinner. So yeah, sometimes it helps. Garfield is a fun character to do.
We have another guest here at the show, Grey Delisle, who took over the role of Daphne on Scooby Doo. I think we have someone else from Scooby Doo, and they're on stage. You originated one of the voices on Scooby Doo.
Right. Hey, would you do it for a Scooby snack?
I don't think so.
Would you do it for 2 Scooby snacks?
No.
Would you do it for 3 Scooby snacks?
Yeah. Scooby Dooby Doo.
Now, Peter, Frank was not wrong. You've got your own a cabal of voices in your background. One of my favorites of yours, though, is a favorite cinema star of yours and mine. One of the greats, some would say the greatest of the Western film, the Duke. Can we get a little bit?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. But there's one thing I am sure. I know where I am today, and I don't know where I'm going tomorrow. But as long as I'm here, let's take 'em to Missouri, Matt.
I've made you guys sing for your supper plenty. Let's turn it over to the audience. What do we got up there at the microphone?
Hi, guys. It's great to see you here. This question is for both of you. Now, when you came up and with the characters of Megatron and Optimus Prime, were there particular people you kind of channeled and, kind of were inspired by as far as coming up with that particular portrayal?
Well, I've told this story a number of times. Maybe some of you are aware of it, but I'm very proud to tell it because Optimus Prime was based on an impersonation of me doing my own brother Larry, and it turned out that I was going to the audition for Optimus Prime, the Transformers. I didn't know anything about it. I was told I was going to be a truck, so I went, and Larry said, "Peter, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to an audition. I'm going to be a truck." And he went, "A truck?" It's funny, Pete. Yeah. So I said, "But Larry, it's a hero. He's a hero truck." And my brother had returned from Vietnam. He was an officer in the Marine Corps. He had received the Bronze Star with V, a couple of Purple Hearts, and an incredible experience. And so he was my hero, 13 months older. And he looked at me quietly and he said, "Peter, if you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. Don't be a screaming Hollywood phony, pretending he's a tough guy and yelling and all that crap." He said, "Be strong enough to be gentle. Be courteous. Be a leader with dignity, honor, loyalty." And his voice just got very calm. And I just looked at him and I said, "Wow." And he said, "Good luck." I got in the car and I went to the audition, and his voice just came right out of me. I should have been able to say, "My name is Optimus Prime." I could very easily have said, "My name is Larry Cullen, leader of the Autobots." I didn't have to. His voice just came out. A week later, I was Optimus Prime. And I met one of my best friends, and he was Megatron. And there we were working again together.
I see somebody over here who looks like he's up to no good.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Blum.
Hello. I just wanted to say that these are two of my favorite naughty-cons in the entire world. Don't let these faces fool you. They're terrible people. I love you guys. Sorry. I just had to stop by.
I couldn't resist having Starscream crash.
Steve Blum.
Steve Blum. Talk about a true Decepticon. That is a very bad boy. Do you remember that picture he took of us? There was a picture that he took.
Whoa, Frank, there are kids in the audience.
Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah. So you were asking about Megatron. And when I went into audition for Megatron, there was about maybe 10 characters out on the table, and they said pick 3. So I picked 8, and I figured it's a numbers game, right? But I fell in love with Megatron because I found out that he was the lead evil guy, so I figured he's got to be in every show. And I've been doing an awful lot of little small fluffy characters. And Curious George, and various small, fluffy, wonderful, warm characters. So I thought the chance to play a villain was great. So I looked at it, and I knew that I had to come up with a voice that was really unique, or Peter would be doing it. He can do everything, I tell you. So I had this deep voice that I kind of used for Soundwave eventually, but it sort of got me into Megatron, and it was based on, and I've told this story too, to our famous singer, right? Yeah. Barry White. And Barry had this kind of really deep, silky voice, which I didn't use, but I used it as the bass, and it was like,
I love you, baby. I need you, baby. I want you, baby.
I said, now who can pass up a voice like that, you know? And so I used that as a basis of thinking, deep, big Transformer character, but it needed to have that kind of metallic pain sound. And I had a thing that I used to do called the Cave of Winds. And I tried to do it, and see if I can do it now, but it's like multiple voices in a cave, and I'll see if I can do it. I am in a cave. I am freezing. I want a jacket. So I thought if I combine that with Barry White, I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question.
Hi, guys. I was a huge fan of the Transformers when I was a kid, and I was just wondering, my friends and I went to see the movie back in 1986, and we loved it, but a lot of us were upset because Optimus Prime died.
Spoilers, man. God, I'm kidding.
No. Did you think it became like a really media attention story? I mean, did you expect it to be that big a story about Optimus Prime's death?
Can I add something onto the front of that? When did you guys know that that was happening?
While we were reading the script.
Seems a bit late to notify you.
Well, it happened that we were, you read the script, you get your pages before, and then you go into a rehearsal, you read, and then you record. Well, I'm reading, and we're in the room, and I get to, page 17, and I say, and I looked around, I said, oh, yeah. No, that's it. Frank, I'm getting whacked on page 17.
Absolute true story. He turns to me and says, I'm getting whacked. I said, what?
Peter Cullen, secret mob boss.
But yeah, it was a total surprise, and Peter turned a lot of different shades of gray I have never seen before. But you know, even today, very few of us, I think, read the scripts when they send them to us. You know, we just kind of get to the sessions and read them. But this was a feature, so normally we'd have time to read them and all, but we hadn't read any pages. So when he stumbled on page 17, it was a shock, and I think the fans also felt it was a shock and went a little bit crazy. And guess who came back and will never disappear again?
There was no internet.
Right.
You know, there was no way of judging. There was no thermometer. You couldn't tell, you know, what was going on. We never got any fan mail. They kept it from us. And as I said, no internet, so there was no Facebook. There was no way of finding out what was good, what was not, and who was in and who was out. None of that existed. So it was a total surprise. And but the kids that hid under their beds and went into closets, some of you may have known kids like that. We didn't hear about that. It was mothers that called into the studio and said, you know, hey, you've got to bring Optimus Prime back because my child is really upset. And then that got back to us. Remember, we heard some of that stuff, and they brought me back for a couple of shows, and I started thinking, what is going on? What is going on? What did I say to somebody, you know?
But, you know, a footnote that you all should be aware of is that ultimately we do this for you. The studios do this for you. We are your, well, you are our employers, if you will. So if you ever have any, yeah, bark, all right. So, you know, let the studios know how you feel. If you feel something is wrong, they will listen to you.
Yeah.
One last thing. Peter, my sister's not here, but she wanted to tell you she loved Murky Dismal on Rainbow Bright.
Okay. All right. Question for Frank. Out of all the Scooby Doo incarnations, movies and/or TV shows, which one would you say is your favorite to work on?
Well, you know, like you say, there's been a lot. I think that there was a season where we did some pretty, well, I'd say we moved away from the basic characters. I'm trying to think of which iteration that was. I think it was like 3 seasons ago where everybody had love interests, we had parents, but the writing was done by some guys that were out of improv groups in LA, and they were so good and so talented and so funny that it took us in a total different direction. I enjoyed it for the humor and the writing, but I didn't like when the characters changed, the actual physical drawings. I like the traditional Scooby, clear back at the very beginning, which they're doing now and will be doing in the future coming in 2020. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
My question is for Mr. Welker, although I did want to say that I had a fairly large crush on Optimus Prime as a young kid.
Wait. Why did the crush have to end?
Anyway, what I wanted to say was that I was a tremendous Real Ghostbusters fan, and I was curious as to how much leeway you had in how you portrayed Ray and what they wanted you to do compared to the movie.
Thank you for the question, and I wish you had a little bit of an attraction for me, but all right.
Oh, no, I wanted to be Ray. I didn't have a crush on
okay.
Ray.
All right. But Ray was pretty close, as you can tell, to my own voice, and they thought that it was pretty close to the original sounding voice, so basically it was just written into the scripts, and I didn't really have much to add other than just being myself, which is what they wanted, and then add a little bit more, another step of excitement or something, and to be more like Ray. And then Slimer was sort of like all my creation, you know, so that was. But other than that, really, we just went in and worked, and it was a great cast. A lot of fun working with Arsenio and most of the people that were. I don't know. It seemed like we had a little bit of changes in a cast, but all of them were good, and we had a good time with it. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, you guys are both great, but my question is to Peter. My girlfriend has always been a big fan of Eeyore, and we just got engaged last night, so I was wondering if you might say something in the voice of Eeyore for her.
Oh boy.
Yes.
All I can say is you're engaged. Oh, well, gotta be something.
Thank you.
Thanks for noticing me.
Hello there. Nice to meet you guys. My question is for Mr. Cullen. Growing up, the Transformers movie, that was one of my favorite things. I used to wake up every morning, pop the tape in. I watched it so much, I ruined the tape. One of my questions for you is that of the years playing Optimus, which quote or speech really resonates inside of you?
Oh, well, that's easy. There was a young boy in the Midwest somewhere, and he had an incurable disease, and he loved Optimus Prime. And he was doing quilting, and he died before he could finish it. And he sent it to me, but he had a caption that I never forgot, and was, "Hold on to your dreams. The future is built on dreams." And I love that one.
Thank you so much.
Hello again. Hi. No, okay. I'm just curious. What do you miss from the 1980s?
Just in general, the whole of the 1980s.
My youth.
Okay, that was good. Next question.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
The 1980s. Do you remember the 80s? Oh, the recording sessions in the 80s. You know what? That's a good question. And in the 80s, we recorded mostly cast, so everybody would be there, and you could play off each other.
A lot less of that now, right?
Yeah. So nowadays, very rarely do you work with the cast anymore. We did in Prime with Steve, and most of the time we had the full cast. But generally speaking, now you work by yourself. So I think I missed that in the 80s as far as work is concerned, is working with the full cast.
That was always fun because, like Steve Blum just showed up, we had the quality of so many great voice actors who all liked each other, you know. We were just got along so well because there was such an appreciation for each other's talent. And to give a great example with Steve, you know, there are so many people here that we owe, you know, those great times to. I miss them. I miss them all, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Hi. Mr. Cullen, I'm here with my 12-year-old daughter. We've seen us a lot. She really doesn't have a grandfather, and you, as Optimus Prime, have really been that for her. And I just want to thank you for that voice of wisdom. You know, she's even said, what would Optimus Prime do before she makes decisions? And I have spent a ton of money on memorabilia and Optimus Prime figures, and I was just curious to both of you, do either one of you have a favorite piece of memorabilia that you keep of your respective characters at your homes?
Well, first of all, I've seen so much incredible art coming through in signings that I've never seen before. And there was one, it may have been like 3 shows ago that we did, where somebody made a card that you open one way, and it was one character, and you open up the other way. It was another. Remember that? It was just amazing. So I've got that up on my shelf. I thought, and that was one that somebody made.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I have, of course, my P-38, but, still in the box, and I have no idea how to put it together. Peter?
Well, I have my 18-wheeler. I have the Kenworth, the very first edition that came out. And I have Ironhide, and I put Ironhide. I figured out how to get Ironhide into the tractor trailer. I couldn't take it apart. I came home one day, and my son had found it, and he destroyed it. I mean, destroyed it in the sense that he took it apart, but none of us could put it back together again. Until I met about, a few 8-year-olds who could literally take it apart and put it back together again like a Rubik's Cube. And I was surprised. So that's the condition it's in today, although it's in several pieces. You know, broken this is broken, wheels off here, that, blah, 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 blah. But it's my favorite, and I keep it in my bar. I have a bar.
Yeah. Thank you.
A juice bar.
If I can ask a little follow-up, actually, tagging right off of what she was saying, what has it been, what was the experience like the first time you did one of these conventions and got to see the love of this fandom? Like you said, you weren't getting the fan mail. That was all going to the studio. What was that experience like? That must have been some sort of a change in perspective of sorts.
Well, for me, it was fantastic because I really haven't done many, and I think it's only been 3 years, and Peter was the one who got me out and said, you got to come out and meet the fans. They want to meet you, and you need to see them and see who you're working for. So, as I said, we work for you, and it's so nice because almost every single person says, thank you for coming. They're so gracious and so nice, and it just feels really, really good because, you go in a studio and you forget. You drive home and you forget that there's actually wonderful human beings that are hopefully enjoying your work. So it's been terrific.
What was that first convention like for you, Peter?
It was in New York, and years ago. And I was quite literally taken off my feet. I didn't know what to expect, but it was a room filled with about as many people as are here right now. And when I walked on the stage, they just all clapped, and I was stunned. I thought I would have to be there to describe who I was and what I did. But it turned out that I didn't have to do any of that. And there was so much love, and that has continued to every convention I've ever done since, including like today, the love that is there. It's so deep, and it's so open, and it's so true. And it's something that we've shared since 1984. I understand it, and those out there that remember all of that, we have a bond of understanding that goes without saying. I love you.
We've got time for a couple more. Let's see what we can squeeze in. Go for it.
It's surreal to talk to you guys right now. This is crazy. The first dude stole our question, so I was wondering, in honor of Boston, maybe you could speak like Optimus in a Boston accent, and you could speak like Megatron in a Boston accent, and you guys could banter for a sec.
I don't know, guys. That sounds wicked hot.
It does sound wicked hot. You think you could banter us something for a second?
Ironhide, where did you park the car?
Yeah! Woo! Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name isn't Optimus. Quick question for you guys. If you had to be half man, half Transformer, which half would be Transformer and why?
I don't think that I've ever heard this question asked.
Like that Geico motorcycle ad, isn't it? Well, I think if I was Megatron, I would go for the upper half so that I could have my weapons and my evil brain. And then my puny legs would run like heck when I saw Optimus Prime.
Okay, what about Peter?
I'd like to be the Kenworth truck.
Awesome.
I'd like to climb up into that cab, start the engine, and go down the road.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Enjoy Boston.
Good question.
I got Frank.
Yes, sir.
I remember. What's your favorite, 2 questions. What's your favorite animal voice for first?
My favorite animal voice would probably be a very big lion.
Okay. Not bad. Okay, what's a gorilla doing underwater in the first place? You got it.
Thank you. This guy's got the matrix of leadership. We got to listen to him.
If I may.
Oh.
What have you got for us?
Very cool.
I couldn't help myself. Thank you. After all the... It's weird hearing my own voice. After all the... You both have spent so much time being your respective characters of Optimus and Megatron. And going back and watching, like, even Transformers the movie, the voices have changed so much over the years. How do I phrase this? How have you come to...
It's been an evolution. It's been a process, right?
Yeah, how has that come to be for you guys?
What's that process been like? Megatron has, I think, very distinctly changed over time.
Megatron has transformed a lot, which is, perfect because he is a transformer, but it's been kind of interesting. I really love G1 because that was a total original creation, and they didn't fiddle with it all. It just was Megatron, so I started there. It was a good voice. I enjoyed I am Megatron. Then as I proceeded into Transformers Prime, he was a little bit more of a Optimus Prime. We will make sure to get you. Now that was enjoyable because it was more of a straight voice. Then it turned into Galvatron. Galvatron I like because it had a little bit more gravel. Then I was back to Megatron again. The most evil incarnation of all, Megatron!
Peter, what was the process with Optimus Prime? How have you tweaked him over time, if any?
Well, of course, I had to do a few adjustments for the movie because Michael Bay wanted me to show the difference between size, and the relationship between a human being and 45-foot tall robot. So he was instrumental in putting me through a machine, which did something, I don't know exactly what. But basically, Optimus Prime's voice is still Brother Larry. I mean, he's from the Kenworth truck, I must admit, he was a little less beefy and less baritonish. He was Autobots, a little higher up here. He was Autobots, roll out. Ironhide. Oh, come on, Prime. Let me kick some butt. No, not now, Ironhide. Later. And then in the movie, it's no, not now. We have things to do till all are one.
Can I get away with one more quick one?
Beautiful.
That's what I asked.
All right, next, I think we got time for just one more.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
This is such a thrill. Hi. Question for the both of you. I'd love to hear about the moment you first realized Transformers was more than just another job.
You mean when they realized it was more than meets the eye?
Yes.
At what point were you able to appreciate the response of the fan base? Like you said, you weren't getting the fan mail.
It's a hard question because it's... I guess the answer to that would be when the second movie came out, the big feature came out, And that's when I realized, because I had to audition for Optimus Prime again.
Silliest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, that's showbiz. They're like that. I don't know. They're always trying to show who's boss. But I don't know where I got that, but that's not true. I think that was a turning point for me to show the world was out there that loved Transformers, and they were ready to make it $1 billion profit on it, which was an indication to the rest of the world that, you know, we'll do another movie and we'll make another $1 billion, and we'll do another movie and we'll make another $1 billion. $1 billion franchise is kind of proof that that franchise is going someplace. And it's because of you guys. Thank you.
I remember going through the same process. The fans, because of the internet, they generated a lot of buzz, and I could see that that they're very interested in the original voices playing the characters in the features, and very strongly, which we appreciate. And I was supposed to meet with Michael Bay and also have a discussion, because he was not real crazy about the G1 voice, didn't think it would translate into or transform into the feature Megatron. But our schedules never got together and we never met, and the next time that I really realized that moment that you're talking about is I was driving down the street and I wasn't in the feature, and I looked up on this building on Hollywood and Vine, and there was Optimus Prime running up this entire building, and I was thinking, wow, well, Peter made it. And that was pretty awesome, and I was so happy for him. And then it turned out that the next feature I got in doing a couple of the others, and eventually got back into Megatron. But yeah, thank you for that.
Megatron always comes back.
Megatron always sneaks in somewhere.
So we've got time for this one last one, and I think kids ask the best questions, so no pressure. What do you
I have a question, Mr. Welker.
Yes?
Was it hard to give up your role as Megatron after the 1986 movie?
I'm sorry, could you say it one more time?
Was it hard to give up your role as Megatron in the 1986 movie after Galvatron came into existence?
Yes, actually, that's a really good question. And I thought the same thing was going to happen to me as happened to Optimus Prime. But fortunately, when we started doing the series again, Megatron came back and then was on and on and on. But yeah, at first when I saw that Megatron became Galvatron, I was a little concerned, especially when it was Leonard Nimoy, because I figured I'm never going to replace Leonard Nimoy. But yeah, it was shocking, but I'm glad I came back. Thank you for that question.
Now, are you guys...
you know, we could read a little something? Yeah.
You got something?
Yeah, just a real quick
something
little
special?
thing.
Pull that thing out.
Yeah, we're going to
while you're
surprise
grabbing
you.
it.
You know, a lot of us have asked, a lot of you have asked us to read a scene together like we were actually doing something in a show. So we thought we'd like to do that for you. But we both need our glasses.
And while they're doing that, just a couple bits of housekeeping. Everybody enjoyed this so far? Yeah? Now, here's the most important thing that you can do for us. If you've really enjoyed this, Fan Expo Boston puts out a survey every year after the show. Let them know that you love this. Let them know that you love these guys and that you'd love to see them back. If hopefully I did my job, wouldn't hurt for you to tell them that you enjoyed what I did. But
yes,
these guys are the reason that we're here. All right, are we going to take it from one? All right.
All right, this is Megatron, Optimus Prime.
So here we stand, leaders of the Autobots and the Decepticons. We alone control the future of this planet and beyond. We can share the power and the destiny of all that lies before us.
Megatron, it is not power I seek. I wish only to protect this planet, and I want no harm to come to these humans.
You fool! Why throw away your life so recklessly? With Energon from the Earth and our troops, we can rebuild Cybertron and control the galaxy, and the entire universe awaits us.
I will not endanger the Earth or its humans. Cybertron has shown us what devastation comes from greed and power.
Then you will be forever my enemy, Optimus Prime. No one will stand in my way.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
So be it. Power through tyranny.
I will never give up hope that one day we shall stand as one. Until then, Autobots, transform and roll out!
Gents, let's hear it for them, everyone. Peter Cullen, Frank Welker. Keep it going, keep it going. Thank you, Boston.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.